Let's explore another interesting example of a blue ocean strategy. It's the example of citizenM, a hotel chain created by Ratan Chadha and Michael Levy. They focus on a very particular customer segment, the mobile citizens of the world. These are culture seekers, professionals, explorers, shoppers, people who would visit a city for 1 or 2 days. citizenM does a couple of things differently. Let's explore that with the 4 actions framework. They eliminate some of the most costly things of the value proposition of a high-end hotel, like the kitchen, the table-seated restaurants, the fitness area, the wet areas, and the spa. Why would they do that? Not because the mobile citizens don't value this, but because these are very expensive aspects of a value proposition of a hotel, so they take them away. Similarly, they reduce the room space, very expensive. And as a customer, you get a lower price, which is your advantage. They reduce some of the more painful processes of the hotel experience, which is the check-in process. And they take away some of the services that the mobile citizen might not need. On the other hand, they raise a couple of aspects of the value proposition. They focus on very good bed and pillows, and they create soundproof rooms. And if you're coming back from going out in Amsterdam, there's a 24/7 bar and kiosk where you can find good sushi and a selection of beers. Now, what do they create? This is not very, very special, but they create some of the things that should be mandatory in the hotel experience. Free Wi-Fi. Who doesn't want free Wi-Fi who's a frequent traveler? Now, let's look at this visually. What are some of the aspects that citizenM has done? We saw the self-service check-in terminals. Well, they make it very simple for you to check in with your credit card. And if you have an issue, well, there's a staff that will come and help you, because they have an all-round staff that can help you with all the problems that you might have. Their only mandate, in fact, is to make you a happy customer. There's a self-service food and beverage area, pretty high-end, where you get good sushi and a selection of beers, and of course, a great espresso. They create a living room atmosphere at the bottom of the hotel. In a partnership with Vitra, they equip the lobby with design furniture. Now, you will understand why they do this, because the rooms are actually the European version of a Japanese pod hotel. They're small, functional, but high-tech. So, when I say small, I mean small. It's 14 square meters. This is your view when you sit on the bed. This is your view when you come in the door. So, pretty small, but pretty functional. And they give it a high-tech touch. In a partnership with Philips, you can actually use this remote control to steer your room. Now, the rooms are prefab and standardized, and this is where it gets very interesting in their business model. They completely changed the backstage of the business model of a hotel. They, in fact, have a room factory. The rooms that you will see in a citizenM hotel are all manufactured and then put together to a hotel. So this dramatically reduces the construction costs. Now let's look at the business model of citizenM. They focus on the mobile citizens globally, and they offer them what they call affordable luxury. I would say it's, in particular, a very, very, very good quality-price ratio. They sell the rooms mainly through the internet, much higher rate than anything else in the industry, and they have a very, very service-oriented staff. In fact, the staff is an all-round staff. With 5 people, they can run an entire hotel. So the revenue streams are very traditional, but they have higher revenues per room than the traditional industry standard. Now, where it gets very interesting, as we've seen before, is the backstage of the business model. They have a room factory where they prefab all the rooms, which dramatically lowers the costs. And all they have to do, because they outsource the logistics and the supplies, is the operations management of the hotel. So they can run a hotel with over 200 rooms with only 5 staff. That's pretty impressive and much better than anything else in the industry. In particularly is impressive because they get very, very high service ratings. So the backstage of the business model results in dramatically lower operations costs, dramatically lower construction costs, and dramatically lower labor costs, because they have a very, very low turnover of the staff, which is also very special in this particular industry. Now, why is this business model special? Because they built a scalable organization at lower costs and with more features that create value and less features that are very costly. So here you have a business model with lower costs and higher value for the customer. That is very interesting, and this is very special about the business model of citizenM. Now, the positioning here that the founders were seeking was on the right-hand side in terms of quality and image, but on the lower end here, on the lower side, in terms of price. So they would be able to offer more with less, actually more value at a lower cost. So are you inspired about creating more with less? Now it's your turn.